Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good morning to you wherever you may be. Welcome to the Big Speak webinar. This is Rejection and Resilience with Jia Jiang. I'm Marianne Kuga, Marketing Manager at Big Speak, and this is week 8. We've made it to the end of April, which, unlike March, that felt like it was a full year all on its own. April's passed in the blink of an eye. While we give people a couple more minutes to get signed in, I'd like to say happy birthday to the president of Big Speak, Barrett Cordero. I won't reveal how old you are today, but on behalf of your entire team at Big Speak, we hope you have as wonderful a birthday as quarantine allows. And we can't wait till we're all back together again, where at this point, I think we just have one massive birthday party. All right, well, it looks like a good number of people have made it in. So welcome everyone, and thank you so much for joining us this morning. I'd like to introduce our guest today, Jia Jiang. Jia is a rejection and resilience expert who is best known for completing 100 Days of Rejection, which became the basis of his Amazon best-selling book, Rejection Proof: How I Beat Fear and Became Invincible Through 100 Days of Rejection. So Jia, if you want to come on in, say hi to everyone.
Here I am. Hello.
Hi there. Good to see you.
Yeah, like how you say I'm rejection expert. So that's a great title. Like I own that title.
All right. So before I let you dive in, just a couple of quick reminders for everyone. You can ask questions through the Q&A button on the toolbar, and you can also use the chat button to communicate with me throughout the session. And we'll do a Q&A following Jia's presentation, so you can submit questions at any time throughout the broadcast. We are recording this, and it will be distributed to all attendees tomorrow morning. And just to change things up a little bit, I'm going to do a quick poll, but instead of putting it up on the screen, I'm just going to ask the question and have you guys answer in the chat. And that is, what is one positive thing that has come out of this situation that we're finding ourselves in? Some silver linings, if you will. So for me, there's been a few things, but one being actually this webinar, which has pushed me way, way, way outside my comfort zone and forced me to learn how to be comfortable on camera. And basically to learn all the ins and outs of Zoom. So if you need help on Zoom, I got you covered. Jia, what about you? What are some silver linings you've taken away from this?
Yeah, my silver lining is I tried a new hairstyle. I never looked this way before, but it's because of me. It's because of my wife, Tracy. You know, I used to just travel everywhere and speak to organizations. And, you know, over the past few years, I spoke over 200 organizations, right? But now that has stopped. So, and Tracy's like, well, you are not getting on stage anytime soon. So I'm going to try your hair. So she started become my hairstylist and did this. And I think it looks good. I like it. So,
yes, this looks great, but you're forgetting the part where you started out with a mohawk.
Yeah. So she's got the thing is she started practicing how to cut hairs on my sons. I got 2 sons, and she started doing work on them. She's like this tinker, right? She's like this chef but now our heads are her kitchen. So she's just like go just hacking away, and then it got better and better with my sons. I'm like, well, okay, actually, if you keep practicing, I might let you try mine. And now is their chance. So she started with a mohawk, and that didn't go over too well with everyone. But now she's like, well, I'm gonna fix that by you growing out and do something. So here it is.
Well, I did enjoy the mohawk. I thought it was a great look. See what everyone is saying. A lot of people just happy to spend time at home with their kids, kind of uninterrupted. Sometimes maybe too much time with kids, but and someone got a puppy, no outside interference or pressure. Saving mileage on a new car, that's exciting. Someone else published a website. Saving money on gas, meditating, a bunch of good training and everything. Yeah, a lot of good stuff in here, guys. I think there are a lot of silver linings, honestly. People cooking at home. I mean, I know I said last week that I'm really sick of cooking, but I do like it, so I am sort of still enjoying it. Okay, so I'm gonna actually just turn it over to you, Jia. I'm gonna turn off my video and mute myself, and I will be back for the Q&A.
All
Are you ready
right.
to get your screen shared?
Yeah.
There you go.
Thank-
All right, everyone, see you later.
All right. Thank you, Marian, for the cool introduction. And as Marian said, people call me the rejection guy. I'm the rejection expert. And I really don't know how that's a title you want to claim as a rejection expert. But it is what it is. The thing is, today, some of you might have already heard my story. I'm going to talk about that a little bit, but today it's going to be beyond that. It's going to be beyond just about rejection and resiliency. It's really about how to become a superstar, right? Who doesn't want to become a superstar? Now, the key word here is to become. It's to become. It's about where you are right now, where I was, but then what I turn out to be, right? And that made a huge transformation in my life, and I've helped a lot of people made a transformation in their lives. And it's not about touchy-feely. It's not about you got to get the motivation. So what's the secret to actually make a real change that lasts? So today I'll be talking about that. So before that, I'll talk to you about where this whole started. I grew up wanting to be Bill Gates. So this is where I grew up in Beijing, China. This is where when Bill Gates came to China to promote Windows 5, and I was a teenager. I was 14 at the time, and I heard him speak. And I just fall in love with that guy. I love technology. He's using to change the world. I love this entrepreneur story. I just loved everything about this guy. I love that one day he's going to become a philanthropist and he's going to try to find a vaccine for the pandemics. Of course, I didn't know at the time. I just knew this guy was cool and I want to be just like him. I even wrote a letter to my family telling them, hey, don't worry about your son. I have my life planned out, right? By age 25, I will build the biggest company in the world, and I will actually buy Microsoft. I really embrace this whole idea of becoming someone and become a superstar and dominate the world. My family kept this letter for me all these years, and they sent it to me when I was 30. They're like, hey, have you done this? So here's what the letter looks like. All right, some of you might be able to read this, but I think most of you can. This is a really bad handwritten Chinese. It's not beautiful at all. Just trust me on that. But I did have some keywords for you, so you know what I'm talking about in that letter. So that was when I was 14. I wanted to be someone who would be. I just want to be someone who does something. And my way to do it is I want to be this great entrepreneur. And someday someone will read a book about me. So that was when I was 14. So fast forward 16 years. One day I woke up, I was 30. Nope, I didn't build the biggest company in the world. I did not even start. What did I do? I end up working somewhere like that, in an office building, just toiling away, right? And I did well for myself. I went I went to school. I found a job like this. I made money. I got married, bought a dog, bought a car, bought a house. There's nothing wrong with this, but it wasn't my dream, right? It wasn't. And I was just like, where's the kid who wrote that letter? He wanted to change the world. And also at work, I just felt stuck. I just feel like, why am I not progressing toward my dream? Why am I not making just leaps that I wanted to? So there's a big discrepancy between where I was and where I want to be. I did not know how to get there. And this even stayed with me. And even I started my own company, right? So and the first thing, if you don't be Bill Gates, you have to start sooner or later, right? So when at age 30, I quit my job and started my own company. But as soon as I got rejected with the investment, the first thought I thought is, oh, I gotta quit. This investor knows more about business than I do, right? He's very well known. He's very he's local. He's very well known. He's very respected. When he said no to me, oh, of course, that guy, I respect that person. That means he didn't think I have it. He didn't think my business plan was good. And all those ideas came out. That's where it dawned on me. Okay, now I kind of know why I wasn't progressing. It took me this long to actually start my company. It actually make me realize why I feel this way now. It's because I was really afraid of rejection. I was really afraid people's opinions. I wanted to do, I had this ambition that's right here, but I was here that every day I do something, I look people's approval. I look for my family's approval. I look for my friends' approval. And I do the, I did everything that other people's doing because I just want to make sure that people don't see me weird. So at that moment, it was like an aha moment. It's like, wow, I'm so afraid of rejection. It's helped me back for all these years. And I got to change that. I got to change that. If I can build keep working on this company, I can build a better product. I can build a better team. But I have to be a better person. I got to be a better leader. If I'm still afraid of rejection, there's no way I'll be successful. So what did I do? I searched online. I searched how to overcome my fear of rejection. And eventually, I saw a bunch of articles written by sales gurus, just rah articles, and just screaming to my face. They were like, "Hey, just don't take rejection personally. Just go ahead and do it and overcome it." I'm like, if it's that simple, who doesn't know this? If it's that simple, why was I still so afraid? And I ran into this bunch of psychology articles and telling me where's my fear and pain coming from. They weren't that helpful either. And then I saw a website that had this game. It's called a rejection therapy. Okay, for those of you who don't know, the rejection therapy is a deck of cards. It give you suggestion. You see, every day give you a suggestion to get rejected something. The idea is every day you put out a card, you're like, oh, I gotta do this, right? I gotta ask for direction from a stranger. I gotta sit beside a stranger and start a conversation. You just do all these type of things. You do this for 30 days. Eventually you will become this badass. I'm like, wow, this is the best idea I've ever heard. I want to be a badass. Let me do this. Let me be the baddest ass of them all. So I'm gonna do this for not just 30 days, right? I'm just gonna blow this out of the water. I'm gonna do it for 100 days. I'm not gonna use this card. I'm gonna come up with my own imaginative way to get rejected. I just want to have some fun with this, right? And also, let me use my phone to film this. I would find a way to film this, and I'll put this on YouTube and make a video blog out of this thing. So that's what I did, and this what the website looked like then, right? You see, rejection 1, borrow $100 from a stranger. You see, rejection 2, request a burger refill, right? So it's all this type of things that I did, and I was getting rejected left and right. But one thing I found is, actually, you know what? This wasn't that bad. Not only before I started the first one, I just had this all kind of a crazy idea, ideas on what's going to happen to me, right? When I was trying to borrow $100 from someone's going to cuss me out. Maybe that person will be very, maybe he'll call the police. He would think I was crazy and would have a big confrontation. I would just run away, right? That's what played out in my mind. But in reality, none of that happened. People just said, no, right? And then some people was even asking me to explain myself. They're like, hey, man, was like, why, right? But I was so scared when I started. The first thing I heard no was I just start running as fast as I could. So, but then because I was recording this, I had these videos, and I was like looking at the video frame that filmed that night. I put this on YouTube. I was like, it's not that bad. People didn't these people weren't menacing, but not only I treated this like a terrible situation because it was I was have these ideas in my mind. So as soon as I got rejected, I start running away. So I started getting better and better at this. I said, okay, I'm not gonna run. I'm gonna stay engaged. I'm going to have fun. I'm gonna be better. So then every day I started doing this, strange things started to happen, like really weird things. People would start to say yes to me, one after another. So for example, one day I had this soccer ball in my hand. I went knock on someone's door. The guy opened the door. I said, can I play soccer in your backyard? And it was like, he was a big guy. He has this giant Texas flag on his t-shirt. If you're from Texas, people like to do that there. And he was looking at me. He was like, soccer in my backyard. He saw me and he saw how serious I was. And he was like, okay, I guess so. Come on in. So I'm like, well, now what? I didn't think this through. So I went in there and, did a little bit dribbling, and I had him take a picture of me. But before leaving, I said, how can you say yes to me? And he was like, dude, this is so off the wall. How can I say no? I'm like, okay. Then there's another day I was just driving down the highway. I saw a police car. I was waving at him. He's waving back at me. I'm like, no, can you stop? So I put him over and I said, officer, can I drive your car? And I'm not going to drive it away. I don't want to get in trouble, right? But I just want to give it a spin. I want to try your radio. I want to feel like a police officer. And then he just looked at me. He was like, I have never heard this before. Sure, why not? So I drove a police car that day. It was a lot of fun. And then just another day, I was I was like, I got a bunch of yeses in a row. I just got frustrated. I'm like, this is rejection therapy, not acceptance therapy. What's one thing that there's no way anyone's going to say yes to me? How about if I try to fly a plane? So I went, by the way, I have no idea how to fly a plane. So I went to this airfield in Austin. That's where I lived at the time. And I talked to it looked like he's like a pilot. I said, sir, do you have a plane? He's like, yes, I do. I said, can I fly it? He was like, do you know how to fly? I'm like, no. He was like, it's okay. I'll teach you how to fly. You don't do it now? And I was like, what's going on? So, he had a gyroplane. Okay. For those who don't know, a gyroplane is a motorcycle in air or a miniature helicopter kind of thing. So he's a rich hobbyist. He just bought his new gyroplane. He just taught me. He was trying to show everyone how awesome it is. So he taught me how to fly. It's pretty amazing. So if you go to my YouTube channel, I suggest all of you do. And you're going to find all these episodes in video. They're all really fun. It's all really fun. But speaking of fun, there's one video that really made this not only fun, but made this kind of famous and viral. So this is where I went to a Krispy Kreme in Austin, Texas. And I said, one day I was driving down the highway. I was getting stuck in traffic. I saw this Krispy Kreme sign. And that year was the Olympic year, right? I mean, so it's this year. Too bad we don't have Olympic this year. But that year we did. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to go to the store and ask them to make me donuts that look like Olympic rings. By the way, there's no way they're gonna say yes to that, right? I'm gonna ask them to link 5 donuts and look like an Olympic symbol, and there's no way they're gonna say yes. I'm gonna just go in and ask and make a joke, then leave. And guess what? The donut maker took me so seriously, and she was like, what does the color look like? How do I make this? And 15 minutes later, she came up with a box of donuts that looked like Olympic rings. And this is what they look like. So we had them for dessert. It was very sweet. There's a lot of sugar in there. But the thing is, the whole experience felt even sweeter. When I was walking out of there, by the way, I recommend you to watch that video. It was when I was walking out of there that I just had tears in my eyes because a couple of things. One, I just couldn't believe the type of customer and service and just human kindness that this donut maker showed me. I was trying to get rejected and she wouldn't reject me no matter what. And secondly, how many donut moments have I missed in my because I didn't ask, just because I thought I was going to get a no for sure. So, and I was like, my whole life was different. I mean, I'm seeing things very differently now. There's so many uncovered opportunities and things that just because I was so afraid of rejection that I was playing by the rules, so-called rules. So, and it made a huge difference in my life. And guess what? It made a huge difference in many people's lives as well. This video went viral. It went to the front page of Yahoo, the front page of Reddit, went to Daily Mail of UK. It went to the Times of India. It got over 5 million views around the globe. And people started sharing stories with me. After this video, people started just writing emails and people were saying, wow, this is really awesome. What you're doing is amazing. It's so inspiring. I was like, I'm just looking for rejection. So I thought I was the only one who was afraid of rejection. As it turned out, everyone was afraid of rejection. And they're living their fears through my eyes. It's very therapeutic for people. And also, people start making changes. People start taking steps toward their own dreams. There are people who, who started, trying to start their new business. There are people who was trying to find new jobs, and so all kinds of stories. So I was like, wow, this is really important. I mean, if I can help people overcome their fear of rejection, this might be the most meaningful thing I can do in my life. So I spent the rest 100 days of rejection or even subsequent years just focusing on understanding the subject. I read up on everything possible about behavioral economics and communication or leadership, trying to and help people how and overcome the fear. And because this blog got viral, I was invited to go to all kind of news channels to give give videos. To give interviews. This is at the Today Show, and I even wrote my book, Rejection Proof, a few years ago. Also, I gave a TED Talk a couple of years ago, and it was one of the most viewed TED Talk of that year. I think it was behind Elon Musk and the Pope or something. Sometimes you're just not as cool as someone else. What can you do? So I'm saying this not just to show how, man, I'm really awesome and stuff. No, what I'm saying is, one, this subject of rejection struck the chord. A lot of people were held back by the fear. And secondly, people want change. People want to, they have some rejection fear. Maybe they want to do something else. Maybe there's something they want to do. And I thought there's big discrepancy between where I was and where I want to be. I could see that. But as it turned out, just a lot of people have that discrepancy and they all want to get there. So for the subsequent years, I started just, researching and also speaking on the subject, right? And I spoke over 200 different organizations and events for the past few years. And that's why I'm part of Big Speak. They're a great partner in helping connect me with organizations who want to train their people. Now, this is a pretty, just honest speaking, this is a great career, and I thought this is a lot of fun to inspire people. But I'm also gonna share with you some frustrations I had. Okay, it looks like this, right? The frustrations come from a situation like this. Me speaking and telling people, hey, you should overcome your fear of rejection, and people are like, yeah, I should overcome that fear. Yeah, I'm gonna do something, right? And you would think like, everyone heard my talk, they're gonna be so inspired and they go home and do all the things they couldn't do before. Well, I'll be foolish and naive if I thought that way, because most people don't. Most people go back to their own ways. And this is something called forgiving curve. It goes like this, right? This is a very weird looking funnel, by the way. It's for a good reason. Let's say 100% of people, let's say 100% of you heard my talk. Right? You're not checking your phones or talking to people. I'm just assuming that, okay? And then how many people will actually remember? Maybe 10%. Actually, I'm not being pessimistic here. A study have shown that only 10% of people will remember a talk or a video or even the book content after they consume it. Right? Maybe they get a short-term inspiration, but the next Monday, the following week, only 10% of them will remember it. And then how many of that would actually be translated into actions? How many people would actually do this type of things? I did get a lot of stories, but a lot more people heard this story and they didn't do anything. So, I'm not alone. This is actually a pretty standard case for a lot of content-based inspirations and teachings and trainings. People don't remember it, and if they do, they don't take actions. And even if they feel they do take actions, it looks like something like this, right? You see this like we'll have New Year resolution, right? In the end of December, we're gonna do this. We're gonna have the best shape of my life. And January 1st, the gym is crowded, and January 2nd, it's a little bit exaggeration, but probably January 15th, it looks like this. It goes back to where it was. So short-term inspiration cannot translate into long-term action. And so only the long-term action can actually make the real change. I read a lot of books. I love reading. I love watching videos, but they didn't help me when I was getting hit by rejections, when I was getting stuck. What really helped me was me going out there and put myself in front of real people and getting real rejections for 100 days. And that made it. So by the end, I was a completely different person. I could ask anything from anyone, anywhere. So that was a real transformation. It's through actions. But most actions don't happen. And if they happen, it looks like this, right? So I want to share this story with you. Some of you might know this. this is the first human expedition team that successfully reached South Pole. Okay, before these four gentlemen, no one has ever touched South Pole, and they did. But you see the flag is a Norwegian flag. It's a Norwegian flag. So the first expedition team ever made it were Norwegians. But they weren't the only people who tried to make it. There were multiple teams. In fact, at the same time, from relatively the same distance, there was a British team arriving in Antarctica. They also tried to go and reach South Pole, being the first to reach them. So there are two teams trying to reach the same goal. The approaches they took were completely different. So by the end, I mean, the British team had a great leadership, had great motivation. They actually had better technology. But by the end, not only they didn't reach South Pole, they actually perished. It's a sad story, actually. People have been since that episode, people have been trying to study how the Norwegian team was able to reach the goal, and the British team didn't reach the goal. So as it turned out, the British team, they were so motivated and they went so hard. They would go as fast as they could. They would go like 40, 50 miles a day, right? During a good day. Then the next day, they're kind of exhausted. Or the next day, when there's a snowy day, they just hunker down, right? So by the end, they were really exhausted. But the Norwegian team did something like this. It's called a 20-mile march. 20-mile march. What that is, so every day, no matter it's a good day or a bad day, snowy or stormy, they would, or a sunny day, they will march 20 miles. Right? They would have the constant energy to go 20 miles, no matter what. What happened is funny. It's this classic tortoise versus the hare kind of story. The British team, by the end, they got exhausted and they kind of they just didn't make it. The Norwegian team developed a habit of every day making that step. And by the end, they couldn't stop. They were still very energetic, and they made their goal. So based on these ideas, and that's that, how can I actually help people to translate their motivation into actions? And not just actions, consistent actions over the long term. So they're able to have the habit to make the change. So that's why I started this company 2 years ago. I built this tech company. I went back to my tech root and built this mobile app. It's called a Dare Me. I love this word, dare me to win, dare me to transform, dare me to lead, and dare me to make a difference. And we're using mobile technology to consistently help people every day to achieve their goals. And this is a social app where we put people together and hold each other accountable so they can reach their goals. I'll show you an example of how this thing worked, right? So we run this a 6-day Dare Me challenge in the San Francisco Bay Area. That's a good, really nice picture. But we try this over 27 realtors. Okay, I don't know how many of you are realtors, but realtors are basically independent salespeople, right? Their main thing is they got to go out and just find business, right? They try to find sellers and buyers and try to reach people. Then they grow this clientele, and then in the end, they have a word of mouth marketing going, and then grow their business, right? So it's different from any kind of independent sales job. And so and also because of that, their effort is very easy to measure. So that's why I chose 27 realtors to do this. So we did this just a couple months ago, in January and February 2020. In March, everything changed because of the sheltering in place. What we did is, hey, just every day you do 1 hour of focused work per day. All right, just if you want to make a change, 1 hour of focused work every day. Of course, if you want to be successful, you should be doing 7-8 hours or just work really hard, right? But I'm not even asking that. I'm asking just basic things. 1 hour of focused works, and no social media, no distractions, no phone calls. And we build this mobile app. It's called it's in the iOS form. It's called a Dare Me. So we get people to do this for 1 hour for 60 days. And here's what happened with this group of people. So, here's what the app looked like, right? So you see they're putting the scoreboard. Everyone enrolled, they're in the scoreboard. And every day you have to check in your work. Every day you have to do it. You have to check in your work. When you check in, you advance on the scoreboard, on the leaderboard. Otherwise, if you quit one day, you're out. Of course, later on, we'll actually find a device to get you back one time. because sometimes things happen. Sometimes you forget. Sometimes you get sick. Hopefully none of you get sick. It's not this time, but maybe forget if something happened, you forget one day, and then you can use that thing, we call medkit. It's a gamer term to get yourself back in this challenge, right? So you can miss one day, but for 60 days, you cannot miss more than one day. So this is what people did, right? They started trying to, so this person started making phone calls. This guy started dropping off, business cards. And these people, and this person started dropping off. His name is Justin. He started dropping off flyers, and then Solution, he started sending out emails. Right? If you're in the real estate business, these are the basic activities you have to do to expand your business. So we ask people to focus on one thing per day for 30 days, and the results was actually astonishing. So in 2 months, right, 23 out of 27 people finished. It's 85% finish rate. If you look at an online course somewhere, that if every day you learn something, right? By the end, you probably have a single digit of people who finish. But this challenge, because you get people to do it together, they can have 20 very high finish rate. So they put in this hour of work. So these are the lead measures. These are the things that you do, right? You want to make a change, you do these things. No matter what happens, no matter what kind of environment you're in, remember what kind of economics you're in, you can focus on this effort. It does not change. But here's the lag measures, which is what the result is, right? In their case, sales increase. So they see a 82% sales increase. And we actually measure these people based on the people who, in the A/B testing, the people who did it versus people who didn't do it, the people who did it compared to last year, their progress compared to the people who didn't do it versus last year, right? And it translates into real money. For them, it's easy. They're salespeople, right? If they sell and buy more houses and they have more transactions, they make more money. So to them, the people who took this made $13,000 per person, more $1,000 per person. And the thing is, this is in California. Real estate in California is very expensive. So I'm not saying everyone can get $13,000, but these are the things that people are supposed to do already. But why, it's not like we made some monumental change. We just asked people to stay consistent every day. And they made this huge change, right? They got in their own ways, they got rewarded monetarily. So why this works? Because we ask people to take steps. We ask people to take actions. Every day you take that step. There are a lot of times we can think, hey, I want to make this change. I want to do this. When you start taking that steps, you started making that real change. And secondly, you do it together. You are not doing this alone. And doing this, trying to make a change, going to gym or whatever, trying to make a change by yourself is really hard, because maybe on the first 5 days, you're very motivated. On day 7, you start making excuses and no one's watching. So you just drop off. And then when you drop off once, then the momentum is lost. It's so hard to get back into this. That's why New Year's resolution rarely works. But when you put people together, they have the same goal, toward the same goal, it actually works, because there's accountability involved. You don't want to be the person who drop off. And lastly, we use technology. I think technology has a really bad rap nowadays, and for a good reason. It's a big distraction. It has a lot. It make people divided online, and there's a lot of bad things that are happening with technology. But we use technology for good. We try to bring people together toward the same goal. It actually made a difference in their lives. So, so before I finish, I want to share this this quote with you. I love this quote. This is by the author, Sarah Bretnath. And the world needs dreamers and the world needs doers. But above all, the world needs dreamers who do. So we need people who do things, not people who wanting to do things, but we need people who actually do things and consistently do things. And because of that, I'm going to give you a challenge. This is called the doers challenge. So every day for 14 days, focus on doing the most important work towards your professional goals for at least 1 hour. And we're going to do this together. I'm not going to ask you to do this by yourself. What you do is I'll get you on the mobile app, and you do this for free, right? You experience this 1 hour per day. And so go to bit.ly. Actually, I'm going to, maybe I'm gonna type it out so you can click on this right now.
Yeah, we can actually send this link out afterward, after
Okay.
the presentation, or I can put it in the chat box right now.
Yeah, it's bit.ly and doers challenge. It's pretty, so bit.ly and doers challenge. It's pretty simple. So you want to take this challenge, go in there and tell me what your goal is, right? I put in what's your goal and you know, you can, I mean, this is towards your professional goal. Because that's where it can be measured. You can see the results really quickly in 14 days and whatever you want to do, right? So yeah, so bit.ly/doers challenge. And lastly, I'm doing this, again, it's completely free. I just want to do this with you and I want to see the progress you want to make. I want you to remember this picture when you're doing this, right? Where life is, we all want to improve. We want to be somewhere, and no one's gonna get there in one type of a spurs of motivation. You have to do your own 20-mile march to reach your own South Pole. So this challenge is for you. And even beyond this challenge, no matter what you want to do, take that consistent step. If you want to overcome the fear of rejection, go get rejected every day. If you want to make more sales, go reach out to more people every day. If you want to become stronger, or even become more healthier, do 20 push-ups every day, right? Consistently take that step. So I hope all of you have your successful 20-mile march and reach your own South Pole. So, all right, I'm gonna be here and ask you, take any questions you might have.
Okay, great. I want to turn off the screen share, Jia, actually. Perfect, there we go. All right, well, thank you so much for that. And I did put the link in the chat box so everyone can copy it from there. And I also will send it out when we send out the recording of this. So someone asked, like in the middle of your presentation, so when you started rejection therapy, did you have a fear of public speaking and being in front of the cameras? And if so, how did you overcome that?
Yeah, so I did. So, I mean, there are two different things, right? One is public speaking, another is camera. The camera thing, I didn't have a lot of fear, and because I was just like trying to have fun and I want to see what will happen, right? So there's a type of curiosity that was propelling me forward. But in terms of public speaking, yeah, I was, you know, they say that one of the biggest fears you can have is public speaking, right? And just speaking in front of people is terrifying because, you know, as someone who is afraid of judgment, of what people's opinions were. Now we're just magnify that by 100, by 1,000, right? So I did. So what I did is I started taking the step to put myself in front of a smaller crowd, right? I just went out and I remember my first speaking engagement was in a chiropractor's office, and there were like 8 people. I still remember it's a cramped space, and the blue, you know, the blue projector was just blaring, and just half my face is blue. So when I got there, and the chiropractor, and she's got this whole her own accountability group, like some sort of mastermind group going. And she's like, "Hey, give me a talk, and this rejection thing is great." So, and it's like, "Oh, sure." And I was like, "How long do I have?" She's like, 2.5 hours. I'm like, what? How do I speak for 2.5 hours? So I just sat there and I told my story, right? And by the end, they didn't walk out. They gave me applause. They're like, "Oh, this is helpful." That gave me a lot of confidence. In speaking. And you know, because again, before you did anything, you thought people were gonna just walk out and be angry and all kind of bad things. But no, it isn't. So I used a smaller and very small stage and got bigger and bigger, right? And I use them to gain confidence and to actually learn what line works, how I can connect with people, and I just improved, right? Again, it's about the actions, the taking the steps. So by the end, I remember my first speaking engagement was TEDx Austin. It was one of the biggest one of the biggest events in Austin. There were like 1,000 people attended, and people who were speaking were like scientists and so like social activist and, and artist. And I was like, I'm the guy who got rejected. So how can I measure up to these guys? And then I thought, actually, you know what? I remember those little steps that I took every day to lead up to here. And I bet none of these people go out and get rejected on purpose. Yeah, I'm the rejection guy. So what? So that's what I did. And as it turned out, it was actually, I got probably the most reception that year. He got a standing ovation from 1,000 people for like a minute, and I was like one of the highlights of my life. And then that kicked off a starting career, that kicked off a speaking career. So again, sometimes you and your dreams are not that far apart, but you have to take that step to get there. You can't get there in one swoop. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, and I can say from personal experience, as someone who has or had, I guess, a fear of public speaking and being on camera, that, if you really want to challenge yourself, start a webinar series.
There you go.
Because it forces you to do both. And actually, for me, the biggest thing that I do is I practice. I got that advice from someone of not that long ago, actually, just like about presenting, and it was all just practice. You can tell when you practice, and when you practice, it gives you more freedom to improvise when you need to. So
yeah.
That would be definitely my advice as well.
Okay,
so go ahead.
To your point, Marian, like practice and actions are the only currency to success. Seriously, I mean, most people will start, what they do is they start reading and try to prepare. I mean, I'm not saying those things are bad. Like, I mean, content and learning is important, but it needs to be based on the actions. Go out and do it. Then those things become meaningful. Otherwise, if you just sit back and try to learn all the things you can, and hopefully someday all this knowledge or somehow motivation will transform into some sort of action. It doesn't work that way. It's the action first. When you take those steps, then you learn, and every day your steps become more meaningful, and your knowledge that you gain actually become more meaningful. So.
Definitely. Okay, so this question comes from Michelle, and she says, what if a person is stuck to the extent that you can't even determine what your goal should be to focus on for the next 14 days?
All right, that's a great question. If you can pick a goal for yourself, like we can pick a goal for you, right? If maybe the goal is to get unstuck. That's a great goal. But how do you get unstuck, right? How do you get unstuck? Well, you got to expose yourself to talk to more people, right? And do more things. The thing is, it's sometimes you feel you're stuck, you're here, you don't know where to go. And guess what? Just keep going. This is the type of entrepreneur mindset that you have to do. You cannot think yourself out of a sticky situation. You can only walk yourself out of a sticky situation, right? And when you hit a wall, turn right. When you hit the wall again, turn left. Just keep going. But you cannot stand there. That's one thing for sure. So I don't know where the right direction is, but I do know where you are standing. If you feel so stuck that where you are standing does not get there. So, when I started the 100 Days of Rejection, did I think this is going to turn into a viral blog where I become this expert and speaker? No. I just want to do something, and this thing is fun. So I just did it and let it, and little did I know it took me to a space that I never thought was there, never thought was possible. It's a hidden world that I discovered. So you just gotta, you just go somewhere. It doesn't matter. Go somewhere. If you can find a goal, just hit one, then just start walking.
Yeah, start small, definitely. Okay, so what did you do when you received a no? This person says, Carolyn, she says, for me, I avoid confrontation and want to know how you respond when you get a no.
So let's have fun with it, right? So if you get a no, first of all, at the beginning, I was looking for no. So I was like, how can I get a no? But later on, I learned that people would actually say yes to me. Well, that's different. And I didn't think people would say yes to me at all, but people started saying yes to me. So what I did is I started having a investigative or inquisitive kind of mindset. I want to see what happens. I just want to have some fun. I want to see what I can make people tick. I started practicing different things, right? I mean, by the way, I would not lie. I would just stay authentic, be myself, but I can see, is my body energy going to make a difference, right? It's me smiling going to make a difference? Or is my being like very serious and kind of needy, would that make a difference? I mean, actually all those things made a difference. The more relaxed and more fun I was having, the higher chance I will get a yes. And, in my book, I also talked about different ways on what do you do when you get a no, right? Like most people would just run away, or most people would get a little bit angry, get a little bit upset, and start arguing, the fight or flight response, right? But what I learned later on is there are so many, like getting a no is the beginning, not the end of your negotiation. In fact, people naturally want to say no to you. Well, okay, I take it back. People naturally want to say yes, but people actually do, when they say no. Why is that? Because if you walk on the street and everyone asks you for something, you say yes to everything, that's a chaos, because you don't want to say yes to things you don't know, right? You feel is uncertain, because you want to maintain control. You want to feel like you are staying in control of your situation. That's why people's natural reaction is to say no. But actually, people's natural desire is to say yes. People want to help each other. So you need to give them a chance. So when you hear no, that's not the end of a conversation. You give them a chance to actually turn that around. There are so many techniques I talk about in my book. You can ask why, you can ask how, you can ask for something else, you can just do all kind of things. But yeah, there's a lot of things you can do when you hear the word no. But the two things you don't want to do is argue or run away. So don't do fight or flight.
So this is actually a really good follow-up to that from Lawrence. And he says, how do you balance your actions and determine if you're pushing it too far?
How do I? Okay, couple things. Internally, I give myself as a number, right? I said, all right, how many in the situation? How many times do I ask before I give up? Right, and that's based on any project I take. To quit or not to quit is one of the toughest questions out there, right? When do I give up on something? So, but I say, all right, I'm gonna ask this question, let's say, for example, to 100 different people, right? Maybe if I get like 100 rejections, I'm gonna give up. Otherwise, I'm gonna just get through 100 rejections. So if I focus on that, a lot of times I would get a yes before I hit 100. What happened in reality is most people, they think, oh, I'm gonna go ask until I get a yes. Then they hit 10 no's. They're like, oh, this sucks. I'm gonna quit, right? But if you focus on, say, I get 100 rejections until I give up, then you're gonna actually get a lot of no's. But a lot of times you would get a yes long before you hit that 100 rejections. So that's how I measure this internally. On the other person, right? How many times do I think I push that person too far? Is I never try to push that person too far. I try to make that person comfortable. I always try to make sure it's okay if you say no to me. Maybe I'm asking for a favor, I'm asking you to try a new project, but it's okay if you say no, because that's your freedom, that's your agency. I'm asking you for a favor, and it's okay if you're not comfortable. So by me giving the other person the freedom to say no, I'm actually giving myself the freedom to ask, right? If I'm not afraid of rejection, I can ask anything I want, and I ask nicely, and it's fine if you can't fulfill that wish. So those two sides, internally, I give myself a number. Externally, I make sure they're comfortable. They know it's okay that they say no to me.
Mm-hmm. So what are some ways that you can help yourself with the fear of rejection? Because just in the situation we're in right now, everyone, there's fewer opportunities. Everyone is a bit more closed off. The kind of tone of, maybe cold calls or cold emails doesn't feel like it's necessarily the right play to be sending out right now or calling people right now. So what are some kind of opportunities in that space?
So one of the best things that the way to get is to give. That's what I learned. And you can ask, but the best way is to actually give to people something. And I've done this so many times where I help people make connections and help people do something. And I don't just like say, hey, how can I help you? I mean, I do that, but also I try to find out what their need is. And I ask them specifically, hey, I actually know this person I connect you with. Would that be helpful? Right? So when you're actually helping people, and when you do that, don't have the mind to say, all right, I'm going to ask, right? After giving, I want to ask. I mean, it's about relationship building, right? In fact, the better relationship you build, sometimes the people naturally ask back, hey, how can I help you? Thank you so much for helping me. How can I help you in response? So, if you don't feel comfortable asking, well, find a way to give. Find a way to give. That can make you comfortable. But eventually, sometimes you have to ask at the end. If you need something, sometimes you just have to ask. Whether you're an entrepreneur asking for money, maybe you're asking for promotion and all that, or more opportunities, finding customers, you have to ask by the end. But if you're not comfortable to start with, try to find a way to give.
Yeah. So regarding kind of the challenge and habits, like I know we're talking about like, do 14 days for 1 hour, but if we're kind of want to build up to that, what are kind of some of your tips and tricks to form habits?
Yeah. So you want to start at this, you want to block out this 1 hour in your calendar. All right. In that hour, I just want to do this. Right. And also I built this app specifically for that reason, because building a habit is tough. It's tough. Sometimes they say it takes 60 days. Some people say it's 14 days. Some people say it's forever, right? No one knows how many days it's going to take to actually form a habit. But the best way I found is do it together with someone else. There's the word monkey see, monkey do, right? That's why this app is you don't do this by yourself. You put people together. When you see other people's check-ins, when you see they're doing, that in itself is inspiration, motivation for yourself. In fact, we use this to run our internal my startup now. So we have a small team of under 10 people, but we're a really good team. We love each other. We're working hard. Just like everyone else, we're trying to get through this crisis stronger. But by us, we put ours in the same challenge, right? And it works so well. No matter what we want to do, right? Whether as a programmer wanted to write code, someone would want to find bugs, with the designers and the product managers and the salespeople, we put in what we want to do it together. And the inspiration, not just internally, but seeing your peers when you see them doing it helps a lot. And that's the whole reason I built this app.
Yeah, having an accountability buddy is always good and important.
Right.
Is there a way to apply this to children? I mean, I know you have your 2 kids, and I know a lot of people are home with their kids right now. So how would you recommend people apply this with kids?
So are you talking about the rejection thing or the consistent thing?
Either one.
All right.
Either one.
So I'm gonna answer you. I got 2 boys, right? And I deal with them every day, and sometimes I get frustrated as well. But they're cool. They're still at a cool age. They still like me. So on how to help them overcome the fear of rejection is whenever I say no to them, I don't just tell them no and just be quiet, right? Be end of it. I tell them no, but I tell them I explain to them, and also as I give them a challenge, I say, hey, give me a better proposal. Tell me like how I got my objections here and here's why. But if you can solve those objections, come back to me. Give me a business plan, right? Give me just you don't have to do PowerPoints, right? But just come back with a better idea. Just solve my problem. If you solve my problem, I'm gonna solve your problem. So that's what I try to help that person with rejection. Now, with the parent, in terms of parenting, how to do this with the kids. I did this with my kids before I did this with adults. It works so well. I tell them, I give them a score system where, if you guys do this every day, you get, bed really early. That's a habit they learn. So they get up early, they go to bed early. So I said, if by 8:30 you're in bed reading a book or sleeping, right? You advance on this challenge. So challenging them to do things works so well, and now it becomes a habit for them. So also in this way, it kind of rewards them for the positive behavior that you want them to have.
Yeah, definitely. That's great. We're gonna stop here. I think this is a good stopping point. But I'm gonna send out the link to the challenge, as well as, if you'll let me, a picture of you with your coronavirus mohawk, your Kurohawk.
Yeah.
It's a Kurohawk, which I think honestly gave me a chuckle. So I think that everyone else needs a good smile on their face. So thank you everyone so much. Let me just get my questions all closed down here. Okay, so if you have any further questions for Jean, me, or anyone on the Big Speak team, please reach out. My email is on all of the webinar materials. We do record every session, and it will be automatically shared with all of you, as well as all of those who registered and were able to attend. Jia, thank you so much for joining us today. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, thank you. And to everyone out there in the world, thank you for being here. It's been a wild ride, and we appreciate you being on it with us. And so next week on the Big Speak webinar, we are actually taking a bye week. So don't be alarmed, we will be back. But we thought everyone could use a break from webinar fatigue, and we will resume on Wednesday, May 13th at 10 a.m. Pacific. And I'll be chatting with rock star concert pianist Jade Simmons, and we will open that registration up next week. Thank you, everyone. Take care of yourselves, and we will see you in 2 weeks. Bye.
Bye.